Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special meeting of the City Council for the City of Hudson for Monday, June 29th. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is discussion and possible action on an appointment of a second district alderperson or the setting of a special election of the second district alderperson. So what I thought I would see if you folks have had any, and I want to use the term change of heart, or any ideas, anything different. If we can't get to 4 votes for one individual, then we have an option to schedule a special election, which
They do have ballots if they
yeah,
want to.
we have balance if we're going to vote again. But if we don't, if we decide that we don't want to have a special election, then we wait till April with the seat empty. So,
So 2 points of clarification on special election, just to
Okay.
be clear. I think Nancy sent an email today, it's $1,800
yes,
Right,
Per.
per election.
right.
per election.
So if we have a primary and then we have a regular election, it'll be,
And we're required to have a primary, it's not an option.
I
If
see.
we have more than 2.
if we have
there's
more
more
than.
I'm sorry, if we have more than 2.
Second point then is that when would that person, if elected, take office?
The first meeting after.
There's that period
Oh,
of,
for the recall and election,
they,
but
yeah, they have the option
So
of, someone
December,
could file
then-
for a recount, so then there's like a 3-day
right, if
time
there was
period
no
after it's
recount call,
final.
it would probably be the 16th of November, that meeting. Because the
Okay.
election would be the day after, which would probably, or we won't, no, we won't have to change council meeting. So election's on the 3rd, so probably the 16th of November.
And then the second point is that whoever, that's the end of the term, they'll have to run for reelection
Correct.
no matter what.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to be clear on that.
Because that seat is open, or up for election on the 16th.
So they then would have to file nomination papers
Start over again.
right in December.
Well, I'd suggest that we see if we can't find a compromise candidate. All the candidates were good, but we're all seem to be positioned on the ones, unless anybody's had a change of heart and wants to change their vote, that we choose one of the other nominees. None of them were bad. I mean, they all had good qualifications, so is that how do we work something like that?
We would
have
vote
to
again.
vote.
We would vote again if you don't want to do that. If that's the,
See what happens?
see what happens and see where we come up.
Could we do a poll with, instead of a vote, with that same ballot, and just mark any candidates that we would be willing to vote for? No, you can't just.
You would have to, because it has to be a public vote. The vote has
Okay.
to, so you would have to select, correct, yeah, I would think you'd have to select
Well-
one.
You're saying
I mean, you-
maybe second, third, fourth, or something like
I'm
that?
just saying if we could just check off each of the candidates that we'd be willing to vote for and see if anybody comes up with 4 votes.
Well, would you be prioritizing them, or
No, just saying, all right, I'd be willing to vote for these people, and
would you want that to be considered as the vote, or then to have the council discuss that as a way of fleshing out whether there's a compromise
They
candidate?
could then suspend the rules probably then, if they wanted.
If they wanted to. I mean, the procedure for selecting a candidate or a person to fill the vacancy is not governed by statute, except that the council appoints, and typically it's by voting. But I see your suggestion as then sharing that information with the council here for discussion purposes, to talk about whether, which one of those possible
Is there somebody that
candidates
each of you would be
someone-
agreeable
yeah.
to?
right.
And that, I think that could be done if the council would like to do that. So you're not suggesting that would be the binding vote, that would be the basis for a discussion.
So then Devin would go through and say, okay, either we didn't get 4 votes, or 4 people willing to vote for one person, or he would say, well, there were 4 people who are willing to vote for this candidate. And then we could have
I guess
another
you-
vote
Yeah,
after that.
I think you could do that. That would give people a means without openly, to say who they'd be willing to vote for.
Doesn't bind them to any
It
vote.
wouldn't
No.
bind them to a vote.
But it
no,
would be
and then-
public, I mean,
Yes,
It's public.
oh, it's
That
all
would be
public
You would-
information.
the way I'm understanding it is the council members would then Devin would do exactly what you said, identify if someone got 4 votes, and then we could You could discuss it and take another vote.
You may vote for more than one, is what you're saying.
One or more.
Want to try
I mean,
that?
and that procedure, I think, should be up to the, agreed upon by the council. I mean,
I'm
by a
game.
vote of the council.
Joyce, you want to make a motion to
I will
try
make a
that?
motion to try that
Is there a second?
activity.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, motion carries. I don't think we need 4 votes for that, do we?
No.
I didn't hear anything from Tom, so.
Did we get a majority, though?
Yes, we had
Oh,
3,
di- Oh,
I think.
I didn't vote.
oh,
Okay.
so we don't have a,
Okay, we had 2 votes then.
Two for one.
So
But
it
it
goes,
has-
Town vote.
I didn't vote.
there was 2 that abstained.
We don't have a quorum.
We don't
no,
vote anyway.
no.
Well, I'd like to clarify my position, and
Okay.
I am not changing my position. In fact, I am more steadfast in favor of an election because the candidate that I did ultimately chose has already run once in that district and was voted by those people in that district, and I'm not going to change that. I still prefer to see it go to a special election.
Okay,
Do we have to vote on a special election?
You'd have to get 3 votes in favor of a special election.
Okay.
Not 4, you'd only need 3.
Just seems like so much money and work. Just have to have another election.
So I guess I'd like to recommend that my candidate would be Jennifer Haas. So I'll just put it out there. That's who I would see as a good choice to represent the district.
okay.
I'd like us to vote again and see what happens.
All right.
So just do a regular vote.
Correct.
Before you do that,
Yeah.
I just want to mention a couple things. I don't know Jennifer, and I have no basis to say one way or the other about most of the candidates. I know Chris a little bit, but I know Mara Lee the best. I've known her for 25 years. And I can't tell you what political party she's in or what her political viewpoints are in that 25 years because I've never had a political discussion with her. But I do know that she's honest, hardworking, has common sense, and no agenda. I have not talked to her about her bid for this seat, but I wanted to say those things about her so that you, through me, might know who she is. And that's all I'll say.
Okay. Anyone else want to say anything?
No.
Okay, let's go for a vote, huh? We have all 5 of the candidates here tonight. Thanks for coming again.
All right, we have 3 for Jennifer Hayes, 1 for Spinks, and 1 for Chris Kilber.
Doesn't look like much changed.
So is the option
How about we have a
to-
debate between Chris and Jennifer?
Well, Mary Lee had a vote as well.
I'm sorry, Mary Lee. What did I say?
No, Chris had a vote, Mary Lee had a vote, Jennifer had 3.
Well, maybe we have the 3 of them stand up and talk again one more time.
If that's what you want to do, I'm willing to do whatever you want to do.
Anybody have a problem with that?
Well, I'm sorry, what was
Questions, or?
your suggestion, John?
Well, they've been sitting around watching us do this, and maybe they have their own ideas, so we've had 3 people that...
That's fine,
Okay.
yeah.
I'd like to put a time limit on it, though. I don't want to go on for an hour for each candidate.
Is that
That's okay with you.
Or if there are specific questions you would have?
You have a specific question?
They
or-
might come up, I don't know.
Okay.
I guess,
So what's the fair time for each candidate?
2 to 3 minutes?
sure.
Okay, 3 minutes? I'll go on the other side of it.
Okay.
All right, do you want to draw who's first? How do you want to do it?
Do it alphabetical, just to,
Alphabetical?
I don't, how do you want to do it?
Alphabetical's fine.
All right, I just don't, okay.
So Jennifer would be up first. So just if you, I guess if you have any other comments or things you'd like to say. Okay.
You're the lucky person that gets to go first.
Two
Again,
times now. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'd just like to reiterate the reason I'm standing here is just I think it's important, one, that there is somebody in that chair that is going to vote for District 2, because I think it's important that our area be heard. And I think that I represent a lot of people in our area by being a mom of 2 children and an employee of a company working full-time. And I just know, like, on my block, everybody's just like me. So I think I would make a good voice for my area. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I guess the question I have, if we decide to vote for a special election, will you run for that, and then will you run for a re-election?
That would be my intention, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it would be expensive to have a special election, I'll just say that. And it would be nice to get somebody in the chair as soon as possible. But I also see your side of the coin where District 2 should decide.
Okay.
And they will get their chance.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jennifer?
Jennifer, were you contacted or was it suggested by anybody that you run?
No, that was my husband and myself. We spoke about it, but I was not contacted by anybody specifically. A lot of my reason for running is, like I said in my speech a couple weeks ago, it's really a sense of civic duty. I grew up in politics, local politics specifically, and it's just something that I'm used to. And I thought, you know what, may as well throw my name in the hat.
Thanks.
Does your husband work for the school district?
He does. He's a teacher in the school district.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Jennifer, you got anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'll save some time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
So Chris would be next.
Well, it does appear we are in a conundrum, if I said that correctly. I would like to be considered. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to get the majority, and even when we met last time, I was kind of under the impression that probably would be left, best if it was left to the voters. And that's really basically my stance on it. I don't know what I could say in 1 minute that's going to change anybody's mind. And so I'm just being honest with that. But I do believe it should be up to the people in the district.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
Same question you, Chris. Will you run in the special election and then run in a re-election?
Certainly.
Okay.
Chris, do you remember the vote tally for your district when you were elected by your district to the county board?
Was I what?
Do you remember your vote tally when you were elected?
435 to 2?
So you were overwhelmingly for that percentage of voters elected to that seat.
I was running unopposed. I haven't found those 2 yet, though. But.
Those write-ins are tough, yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
I
Hey, oh, go
guess I'd
ahead.
ask Tom's question. Were you approached by anyone to?
No, I follow the city and the county pretty close, and when I heard that Mary was leaving, I went, ah. So I knew right off I wasn't approached by anybody, so.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Chris.
And then Marilee?
I didn't expect to talk again tonight, but that's okay. I like to talk. I have that in my favor, I guess. I do feel that I am an honest person, and I feel like both of these candidates are also honest, good people, and that whoever is chosen would fill this position very well. I was approached by somebody who's not in our district, and who's a good friend, who said that I told him I'm not political, and he said, that's okay, He said, we need common sense, and I know you've got a boatload of that. And I'm like, okay, I do. I have a boatload of common sense. That's not always a good thing, maybe, when it comes to politics. I don't know, or political things. I'm willing to serve. I'm happy to serve, and would do my best. Should I be chosen, I would. I wasn't anticipating this question of would I run if there was an election, but I would be willing to do that and to run again in the next election.
Questions for Mary Lee?
Thank you. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to ask the other two candidates, if there were a special election, would you run?
Sure. So that anybody can hear you.
Lori Berggren. I would have to think about that. I do think, if I can speak in my capacity as a citizen of District 2, I will be disappointed if you choose to have a special election, because people in my district deserve representation on the council. And if you don't pick me, that's fine. I still love the city. But I guess I would just urge you, as a citizen, to reconsider the idea of a special election and try to come to some agreement on someone here tonight, simply because that district deserves representation. And in fact, you have a city council, a city ordinance that provides precisely for this process of appointing someone. And that is something that the district already approves of. And that doesn't mean someone else can't run or there can't be an election, but I'll just leave it at that. I would strongly encourage you to do what's right by my district and come to some agreement to appoint someone for this seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Bill?
Hello, William Alms. I made my decision to serve, actually back in February. I went to Washington, D.C. as part of a rare disease week. And I decided then that I wanted to run. The fact that there was an open seat become vacant was sort of my decision to do it now. But yeah, I would definitely do it in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Want to try it one more time? Huh?
After making
Go ahead.
them go through that, we should vote again.
Yeah, no, let's not worry about it.
My vote isn't going to change.
Okay. I still think we should go through the vote.
Okay,
Don't you?
sure, why not?
If anybody decides they're gonna, maybe there was something that created a, bet you Tom's vote didn't change.
I think we'll have
Yep,
the same.
yep. We'll see.
And we have 2 for Jennifer Hayes, 2 for Marilee, and 1 for Chris.
Pretty far from a majority.
Okay. So, it appears that we're unable to come to a four-vote person, for one of the candidates. Now the discussion is whether or not you want to have a special election and a primary. It looks like we're going to have a primary if more than 2 people run. And then we would have a general election within the proper days after that amount.
August 11th would be the primary, November 3rd would be the
Do we have enough time to get those notices out?
The notice is already in the paper. We put a notice that said there's a possibility that we'll be doing this to meet the 40-day deadline for August 11th.
I guess
So that'll
I'll-
be in this week's paper.
I'll make a motion to have a special election.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Can we try one more time to do suspension of the rules so that we can only need 3 votes for one candidate, or would that be pointless?
Well, we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Okay.
We have to deal with that. I would
Okay.
guess.
For the,
Motion to suspend.
most, it would still take 4 votes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the vote for the election, I believe, would only be 3, correct?
Correct.
Just needs a
Correct,
majority vote.
but to suspend the rules.
Do you want me to suspend my motion then, or?
Well, who made the motion?
John?
You can suspend, you can withdraw the motion if you want to try and allow that to go first.
Sure, I'll withdraw my motion. Are you going to make a
Second,
motion?
we'll withdraw.
I'll withdraw my second to the motion.
So now you
I
have a
will-
motion to suspend the rules.
Yes, I will make that
Is there a
motion.
second?
To
Suspend the rules.
allow for someone to have 3 votes, okay?
Correct.
Is there a second? Okay, we have a second. Roll call vote.
Hall,
Yes.
Haggett,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
McCormick,
No,
Morissette.
No.
Okay. John, would you
I'll
like
move
make a motion?
to have a special election to replace the District 2 alderperson.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Tom, a second. Any other discussion on that, or discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. We're, at this point,
Just one clarification, just since everybody is here, the
Yep.
nomination papers, well, could start tomorrow morning, but maybe give us a little lead time, but sometime tomorrow, Nancy, or
What's that?
would you be able to get nomination papers ready to go, or Wednesday, maybe morning?
Tomorrow's fine.
Okay, and then they're due back by July 14th.
how many signatures do you need?
More
At
than
least 20 or more. And we
Less
always
than 50.
recommend extras in case someone thinks they're in your district and they're not. But you can talk with Nancy if you'd like to come in and do that. And starting tomorrow, probably afternoon. And then July 14th at 5 PM would be the deadline. And then at that point, if there's more than 2 candidates, which it appears there will be, but once we know that for sure, then the primary would be August 11th then.
Thank you,
Okay.
everybody, for
Thank you.
Thank you again.
participating.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.